Pinterest is a great tool to use to generate traffic to your blog. Some people think of it as social media, but it really is more of a visual search engine. Before I get into the details of how to use Pinterest, I want to show you how to create a business account. This is very important because it's the only way for you to see your analytics. A business account is free to open, and it's actually very easy. You can either convert a personal account to business, or you can create a new account altogether. Either way, once you do that, you'll end up here. This is the settings page for your Pinterest business account. You can change your photo. Before you might have had it set up with just a personal photo. You might want to use a business logo instead. It's personal preference. Your display name, you might want to change it from your personal name to your blog name. You can even change the Pinterest username. And then you'll want to put a little about section, just explaining what it is people can expect to find when they go to your Pinterest page. Basically, it's the same thing as what your blog is. You'll need to fill in the basic information, and for a business, you have to pick one of the business choices. So Blogger is one of the options. You can use your Facebook or Google account to log in if you want by clicking one of these. Now, the most important part of the business account is that you have to claim your website. Once you finish this process, you'll have a check mark right here. So it's a very easy process to follow. You just click there and it's going to give you the instructions. It's going to tell you how to claim your website. You can also claim your other accounts, but the most important thing is claiming your website. And they give you instructions right here. Bluehost HTML file, that's the easiest way to do it. So you'll want to click on that. You can go by whichever host you have. And then the great thing is there's even a video. So it's going to give you step by step on how to access the file manager, how to navigate it. You'll want to watch this video on how to upload files. It sounds intimidating, but it's so great the way Bluehost put this whole thing here with screenshots and everything. So I don't want you to be intimidated by it. Go ahead and do it. I couldn't create a better product than they have. Once you've done that, like I said, you'll have this check mark. So here where mine says unclaim, that's where you'll have the red claim. And you can claim these other things if you want, but the most important thing is that you claim your website. Now, once your business account is set up, the great thing is that you're going to have access to your analytics. So let me show you what that means. Your analytics allow you to see what people pin from your profile and from your website, as well as what your audience enjoys to pin outside of your content. Once you get here, you'll see some key metrics to help you. And it always lets you know how things are moving up and down over time. Don't worry too much about the small movements because let me tell you, it varies so much week to week. Some weeks it's all green for me. Some weeks it's all red. You don't want to stress about that too much, but you do want to understand what's happening, and you especially want to see what's doing well so that you can create more of that type of content, because that's letting you know that's what your hopeful audience wants to see. So first, let me just explain some of these things that you'll see. First one is impressions. And impressions are the total number of times your pins were shown. Anytime you're in Pinterest, you get suggested pins for you, and it's based on your history and the types of boards you have and the types of things that you see. So anything that shows up in the feed is considered an impression. So if someone was on Pinterest and you showed up in their feed, that would be an impression. The next one is engagements. Engagements is the total number of engagements on your pins. So this includes saves, close-ups, and link clicks. So let me show you what we mean by that. When you see a pin, if you click on it, that's a close-up. If you save it, then that's obviously a save. If you click on the link and you go to the website, that's an actual link click. All of those things combined are what make up your total engagements. Your total audience is related to impressions, and your engaged audience is related to your engagements. So now here's the real neat thing about the analytics. You can change your date range. So right now this is the date range, but I could go last 30 days, I could go last 90 days. And so as you can see here, everything is up in the last 90 days, but in the last 30 days it was down a little bit. Over here you can go organic or paid and earned. Mine's not going to change because I don't have any promoted pins is what they're called when you pay for them. Claimed account, I have one claimed account, so it wouldn't make a difference if I switched to all or Chicory's Travels. This lets you know what type of devices that people are using. So if you wanted to see only the people who are looking at your pins on desktop, I think it's better just to say all. And then your pins or other people's pins. And the reason why it has other pins is because when you go to your actual Pinterest account, you actually are going to save other people's pins too, not only your own. So like these are my pins, but then you can see the URL down here. This is a different account's pins, and I'm still saving it because I want to provide value to my audience. Now your top pins come up, and this is again for this time period that we chose here. So for the last 90 days, these were my top pins. Because you say I might save a pin to a different board, and don't worry, I'm going to explain boards a little more in detail. But because I save pins into different boards, sometimes you'll see the same pin more than once. If you look at this one, odor-free RV black tank tips. Here it is with this many impressions, but then if you look down, it's here too. It's also here. It's also here. It's also here. And the reason why it's showing up is because it is saved to different boards. So it's showing it as if it's a different pin. Now these are impressions. This is just the total number of times my pins were shown. How about engagements? This is when people either saved it, looked at it close up, or clicked the link. You can see here's the same one, here's the same one. So obviously this is a popular pin for me. I don't really look at impressions that much. I look at engagements. I don't look at link clicks as much right here because my website analytics and my Google analytics tells me that. So really what I'm looking for in Pinterest analytics is just engagements in general. Now the reason why it's so important to have this information is because it helps you understand what topics you offer that people are interested in. In addition, if you created more than one pin for a blog article, it could possibly help you see which pins are doing better and help you design better pins. So it's not only helping you come up with the right content for your audience, but also to create better pins that are helping people see, that are enticing people to click on it. And as an example of that, if this pin, I have another one for the same article, and here it is here. It was only on this list once, and it only has this many total engagements, where if you added these together, this one 17,000, 3,800, 3,500, 2,300, you see a lot more. Oh, 1,276, so that one is much more popular. So that lets me know that, maybe people like seeing RVs in there. And I actually did find out that that is true because I had a couple other pins. Like I had one for Disney's Fort Wilderness, and one, it shows like Cinderella's castle and it says you can camp at Disney. Another one actually had an RV in it, and that one does much better. So one last thing that you can look at when you have a business account is audience insights. And this is good just to get a better understanding of your audience. So here you can look at your total audience or your engaged audience. And the difference between that is how many total people it was actually shown to versus how many people actually clicked a link or looked at it close up or saved it to their board. The engaged audience is more important, really, because they're the ones who are acting on the information. So for me, now you have to remember, I have RV travel. RV stands for recreational vehicles, so it makes sense that vehicles would be the top percentage of my audience, and that as a subcategory of vehicle interest, it's campers and RVs, and travel trailers, well ahead of any other type of vehicle. Sport also is a top one for me, because camping and hiking, outdoor sport, camping equipment, those are all related. Now, I do have a little bit of finance, because if you remember in looking at my website, we also had a little bit of travel finance and some articles related to that. And one of our opt-ins is actually a budget plan. So that's why financial planning is coming up as a top category that people are looking at. Under travel, travel destinations, North American travel, US destinations. These are higher for me than Europe because I do more domestic travel, and so on. You could go all the way through this and just try to get a better understanding of your audience and what type of content it is that they're interested in. You can also see the age range. You can see where they're coming from and which device you're using. So again, this is all just good information to use to get a better understanding of your audience and also your content and what it is they're most interested in. Let's go back and show you what your actual Pinterest account looks like when other people come to it. They'll be able to see your profile picture, or some people choose to have a logo here, the collection of your most recent pins. This was our profile in the setting, our little description, and then all of the pins. And like I said, these aren't only my pins. If you look at the URLs down here, I do a mixture of my own pins. This is one of mine. This is one of mine. And then these are other people's pins that I'm sharing. Now you notice up here though, I make sure that they're only my pins. And you can change that in your settings to show only your pins on your wall. So in the last module, I showed you how to create pins. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to upload them here to Pinterest. And then in the following lesson, I will explain what these boards are all about. And finally, the last lesson in this module will be on how to use an automatic scheduling tool called Tailwind.